What should we as a society stop making people feel insecure about? I told myself I'd never go to college. I watched both my sisters drop out. I was a C student who hated classes. Well, I enlisted and decided to leave after 6 years due to horrible leadership and what eventually was 5 attempts to retrain into a different career field, but got denied every time. I really wanted to stay in, but if you ask anyone who served, it's incredibly hard to retrain once you're on your second contract. Handling explosives only gets you so far in the civilian world, so I went back to school. Going to college at 25 vs 18 has been a completely different experience compared to my friends. In fact, I graduated with a 3.51 this past December, blowing my HS GPA out of the water. That would not have happened had I been 19 in college. Aging and the unavoidable physical changes that come with it. I agree wholeheartedly, so long as we are talking about things like wrinkles, thinning hair, sagging whatevers, etc. I'm a 35F and these things are starting to happen on a small level and I vacillate between being totally cool with it and freaking out and feeling shitty about myself. I hate the fact these normal things everyone experiences make me feel so insecure, but then I reflect on the fact that many of the actors, vocalists and other performers I admire have barely aged in many years. It would be nice to have more of those types of humans embody true graceful aging, rather than fight so hard to preserve the looks of their youth, lest they be deemed less valuable due to their wrinkles etc. It's such a bummer. There are so many examples of male actors aging naturally, with seemingly no negative effects on how desirable/valuable they are perceived to be as a human. I wish we ladyfolk could see the same on the same level. Your job. Too many people are elitist about someone's occupation and look down on essential workers or look down on boring jobs. I have a stable, relatively well-paying job as an accountant and I have had several comments from friends and family making fun of me or making snide comments about how boring my job/life is, like I've totally sold out because I'm not a teacher or an artist. I think because it's such a safe career choice they feel like they are not punching down, but it just makes me feel really lame and embarrassed. Boring jobs pay bills. Mental health struggles. There's absolutely nothing wrong with taking time to figure out what process works for you, despite why people around you might want to tell you. Had to scroll down a lot to find this, and I wish it was higher up. Mental health/mental illness is a real issue for a lot of people, and society in general has a hard time understanding them and are quick to judge, making the ones who struggle with it feel insecure about asking for help and getting treatment. Shame this stigma still exists in 2021. Exercising in public. To me, anyone giving it a go, no matter their physical ability, deserves praise. Honestly, from my experience, most gym rats are the most encouraging to heavy people. A few of the guys I used to work out with just be at the gym the same time every morning. Kinda made it a point to say small comments to this very heavy-set guy that worked out at the same time as us in the morning. You got this, brother. Keep up the good work, man, you're looking good, man. This guy's face always lit up, and he always pushed harder when anyone encouraged him. We had a year-long battle with my child's first grade teacher because one day he used the bathroom for 20 minutes. In her mind, he had to have been messing around in there because there's no reason anyone should be in the restroom for 20 minutes. When he got home, I asked what he was doing. Pooping, of course. And the next week at school he had an accident during the day. I took him home. He showered and went back to school. Well, I came to find out the teacher had banned him from using the bathroom at all, and especially at inappropriate times. Basically, he could only go on his lunch break. He only has 15 minutes for lunch, BTW. I was so mad we had to have a sit down with the principal, and that didn't even change the behavior from her. It was a hellish year for him, and he had over 8 accidents at school. I'm a cleaner in this. I've literally had people say to me, after I tell them, "So are you studying, or what are you looking to do?" I'd never cleaned toilets, and the worst one was, "So, just haven't found your dream job yet?" Like, no, Greg. I'm OCD and have had, this is my dream job. I'm on my feet all day. I get to make things perfect, and the satisfaction is incredible for my mental health. I'm able to support myself, and my son, and I also get to help the elderly and disabled, who wouldn't want to have that chance on a daily basis. Also, clean your fucking toilet, Greg. It's grotty as hell. Where you should be success-wise at a certain age. I'm 23, graduated college, but couldn't get a job in my field right after graduating. I'm living with my parents to save money on rent, working at a restaurant, and growing my skills that I learned from college while working on myself. I'm severely insecure and realized recently that for the past 10 years, I have been constantly striving for a level of perfection that is absolutely impossible and calling myself a failure for it. I woke up to the realization that I was getting serious anxiety and was limiting everything I did. It's just that I'm not exactly ready for the world of adults. I'm terrified and unsure, and it doesn't help hearing people despair over how they ruined their lives when they aren't that old. The pressure to get somewhere in 2 years demotivates me sometimes. It's something I'm fixing, but I don't like hearing people force time limits on others and reprimand them if they never fulfill it or haven't. I saw a post here about a few days ago asking 25-year-olds how they screwed up in their lives, or something along those lines, as if 25 is the deadline for achievements. It's good to have deadlines, but everybody grows at their own pace and has roadblocks in their lives that slow them down. Heck, the human brain apparently doesn't stop developing at 25 and grows even after 60 years old. Some people genuinely do try, but get so discouraged that they give up and then get ridiculed for not doing anything. I only learned recently that my 30-year-old cousin just got over a terrible drug addiction that cost his job and almost his livelihood for years. But he got out, finished college, and is a changed man getting better jobs and doing better. There's always time. Living with your parents. Rent is expensive, yo yeah. I'm 22 and had this talk with my mom recently. She said, I don't know why you're in such a hurry to move out. If our family was dysfunctional I would understand, but we have no problems. Also, don't think living alone is all goodies. You'll always have to cook, clean, wash and iron your clothes. Just you and nobody else. Plus, rent is expensive. Lots of people move out just because they can, and then live with an empty fridge and eat noodles for dinner cause they can't afford buying proper food. Well, let's just say I'm not in such a hurry to move out soon anymore, haha. She really made me think about some things. I'll just save money, and if I have to make the move, I'll do it when it's smart, whether that takes some more years or not. I have had so much hair on my arms for literally my entire life. Literally since kindergarten. I would always wear jackets and sweaters to hide it, even in the summer. Then one girl asked me why I kept wearing a jacket in spring/almost summer to school. And I showed her the problem and she said, there's no reason to be ashamed of that. It's okay. I still remember her to this day. Sadly she moved schools. Point being, don't be ashamed of your body. Never be ashamed of yourself. You aren't the only one with imperfections. Everyone's got them. No need to be ashamed. Being unemployed. Taking longer to figure out what you want to do in life. Not going to college. Edit. My first 2 points about being unemployed and taking time to figure out what you want to do were meant to be exclusive statements, but I'm realizing now that formatting on mobile implies that they are connected. Thank you to those who shared your perspectives below and made me aware of how my comment reads. To clarify, I think there are many circumstances where being unemployed are not at the individual's own volition, and therefore the stigma should not be assumed. I do agree that there are some situations where unemployment is a consequence of a person's actions. On a separate note from being unemployed, I don't think people should be made to feel insecure about not knowing what they want to do with their life, because we never know what a job will be like until we experience it. I think people are often pressured to have it all figured out, but how are you supposed to know when you don't even know what it's like? Again, this idea is separate from employment status. Having feminine or masculine stuff while being the opposite gender. I'm an older female and have always liked mostly guy stuff. Transformers, D&D, comics, cars on and on. Started when I was a kid with cartoons and other things. When I married, my hubby always wanted me to keep it a secret. Hide it. Don't tell Dave his thermostat is making his car overheat. Don't let Ron know that you like sports or guy movies. Tell him you like romance movies and your favorite color is pink. I was encouraged to hide the real me. Now that I'm single, I'll let my freak flag fly and it's wonderful. I have been told that most guys would love to have a so with those interests. I say like what you like, and to hell with what others think. There is nothing wrong with it. Enjoy life. You only get one. Being smart or being stupid. I grew up in a higher middle class household, but in a small town, dominated by the lower middle class, and I was bullied for reading too much, or having a big vocabulary, while other kids coming from mostly troubled homes, and therefore missed a lot of school were bullied, and laughed at for not being good in school. I just don't get why we can't accept that people are good at different things, and that being book smart and or academically inclined is not better or worse than being a great carpenter, store manager or whatever else. It's just different choices and ways of thinking. Acting your age. Like I get not acting like a 3-year-old when you're 23, but I more mean letting people enjoy things that aren't necessarily age appropriate. I wanna color in my coloring book in my downtime. I'm 31, but who am I hurting? No one, and my picture is goddamn pretty. Low paying / minimum wage work at any age. Look, I respect anyone that works there, but off to make their way in this world. Janitor, McDonald's, making an honest living, shouldn't be looked down on. Going to school for the sake of learning instead of for a specific career and or degree. I have a friend who is really interested in psychology, but feels intimidated to start school again at the age of 35. I told her that going to school for a subject she is genuinely interested in and curious about is the best reason to do so, but we have been conditioned to think otherwise. Aging. Assuming you have an average amount of time, you'll spend the majority of your life not in your 20s. Therapy. We all have our shit. Not going to college. There are so many trades that offer a good living. Not having kids. It's abundantly clear that not everyone feels up to the task of having kids. Don't question it. Long labia does not mean you are a whore. I don't have long labia, and I was a right slag lol. This idea that your dick somehow deforms the labia on the outside makes zero sense to begin with, and so many girls think their vagina isn't attractive enough because sad incels have spread this bullshit for so long now. We should stop making so many jokes about how ugly vaginas are, meat curtains, making fun of women who keep all their pubes, etc. That shit is hilarious until it ruins oral sex for you, because you're too completely embarrassed by your own body parts to let someone put their mouth there. Being behind in life. Everybody has their own journey. Maybe some have kids at 20, some at 30. Some are high up the career ladder at 25, some start a new career at 40. There's nothing wrong with any of these. Making people feel bad about their skills or interests because we've pointlessly gendered them. If the level 85 ninja wizard on my team is a girl and the one bringing me fresh baked cookies is a guy, the proper response is hell yeah. I have a level 85 ninja wizard on my team and fresh baked cookies and nothing more. Their interests. Let people enjoy themselves. Let girls drink pumpkin spice. Let teens get supernatural. I'm so tired of watching people make fun of others, especially kids, for their interests. Like if you don't like it whatever, but let others enjoy their interests and hobbies in peace. Not getting up early. There's this idea that if you get up early then that's amazing and you have your life put together, but that's just not it. Some people are morning people, some people aren't. Rather than being made to feel guilty for getting up at 12 p.m, those who are students or work on weekends, or whatever, just accept that some of us work better at night. Not liking or wanting children. People always see bad parents, and are like, why did they have kids if they obviously didn't want them? Some people shouldn't be parents. But when I say I don't want kids, everyone tells me you'll change your mind, your motherly instincts hasn't kicked in yet, trust me, you'll love being a parent. Yes, I wasn't taught this anywhere, not in sex ed, health class, anything when I was young. I read Cosmo, and I don't even remember reading it there. I thought there was something wrong, but was too scared to speak up. All bodily functions and changes need to be discussed. Can you imagine if we weren't taught about menstruation? You'd think you were dying. This is more for the United States, I think, from what I've read, but taking your vacation days / taking off work. Corporate America makes people feel like they shouldn't be taking vacation days or can't take off. I know personally at my job, people take vacation days and still email / work all day long. We get vacation days for a reason and don't owe our companies anything, so they shouldn't make us feel insecure about taking them when we want and need to. Body hair. I'm a woman with PCOS, and I have thick dark hair growing everywhere. It's embarrassing, especially on a day where I've forgotten to shave and someone points it out. I wish I didn't have to feel so ashamed and insecure of myself every day. I wish people weren't cruel and would just let me exist without torment. Being a virgin is one of my biggest insecurities. I hate being touched, so I've never slept with anyone because of that. On top of that, I have endometriosis, so anything going up in me, tampons, vaginal ultrasound wands, etc., causes me absolutely excruciating agony. So sex has become even more unappealing. I'm 23 and I feel like I'm missing out, but I honestly don't want to have sex with anyone right now. It scares me because I'm afraid of the pain. Being a virgin penis / breast size, whether we are wearing MacLeod or not being allowed to wear MacLeod, having the next shiny gadget that will get replaced soon, having and expressing your emotions without being called a bitch or a pansy. Being poor, it's not a choice. I'm doing the best I can, and just because I receive food stamps or any other type of assistance doesn't make me oppose. I see a lot of hate for poor people, like we are supposed to fit the stereotype with dirt on our face and stained up clothes. It isn't so far-fetched to think my designer clothes come from a thrift store, my nails are pressed on from the dollar store, and my iPhone is so old it still has a headphone jack. Liking pretty things. Too many people have this idea that pretty things are childish and you need to be moody and ironically dark. Fool, look at that beautiful flower and stop pretending to be miserable before you actually convince yourself that you are. Being short. It's amazing that it's socially acceptable to make fun of a short male like everyone is in on the joke. Those same people would never make fun of someone to their face who is obese or has a birth defect or acne, etc. But being short is obviously something a person has no control over. Same. I've had a chipped front tooth since I was 13 and I needed braces as a kid. Mom kept saying she'd get around to making the appointment but never did. Now there's no way in hell I'm getting braces as an adult because I have enough trouble being taken seriously professionally as a short woman with a baby face, and my employer's insurance doesn't cover Invisalign. My husband had a tooth pulled 2 years ago and we are still paying it off because our insurance covers fuck all. Baldness. It doesn't seem to be as common for it to happen naturally with women, but for men and women, it can be a really sore subject, especially if it starts happening at a fairly early age. You could be in control of every other aspect of your life, but if you start losing hair early, it can take the wind out of your sails. Trade school / gap years. College right after HS isn't for everyone. Even some of my smartest friends, top of my class, should have taken a gap because they burned themselves out getting 95-97% AVGs throughout HS. Being quiet. You never say anything is such a weird way to both draw attention to someone and give them nothing to work with.